Trinity Lutheran Church. Trinity Lutheran Church. Well, how are you guys doing today? This is Pastor Mark, and just kind of wondering if you know what it means to be Lutheran. When you see this Lutheran, what does that mean to you? And more in particular, how did we get the name Lutheran? If we're part of Trinity Lutheran Church, where did the name Lutheran come from? Well, we're going to show you a short little video, and then we're going to talk about a guy named Martin Luther for a little bit. So we'll see you in just a little bit.
In 1483, the Pope, seen here, was the indisputable head of the Catholic Church. He was considered the voice of God on earth, the only human being with a direct relationship to Jesus. And into this church came Martin Luther, the man for whom the Lutheran Church is named. And he had some, well, serious issues with the way the Catholic Church was being run. Among his concerns was the practice of selling indulgences, a system by which Catholics who have sinned could then buy their way to redemption through a sizable donation to the church.
What the?
Martin Luther couldn't bring himself to just stand by and watch the church stray so far from Scripture. So he wrote a document called the 95 Theses that encouraged the church to move away from its focus on wealth and power and return to a focus on the grace of God. These were not popular opinions among his fellow Catholics, and ultimately he was kicked out of the church. Nevertheless, translations of his writings spread across Europe, lending his voice to what became known as the Reformation. Students came from all over to hear Martin speak. While Luther was gratified by the response to his writing, he had no desire or intention to start a new church of his own, and was completely opposed to the idea that any group of people should call themselves Lutherans. Martin called for a church that was always reforming itself in order to keep its focus on Scripture and God, rather than on a religious figurehead like the Pope, which can disrupt human connection to the divine. So one might wonder why it is that today we proudly call ourselves Lutherans and not simply Christians, as Martin Luther instructed. Have we just replaced the Pope with Martin? Well, two things are certain. We are Lutherans, and that fact would make Luther very, very unhappy.
Well, did you learn anything about Martin Luther in that little video? Kind of fun, pretty factual, but a couple of things that I just wanted to highlight. In the video, it kind of made it sound like it was Luther and these Catholics, right? And one thing that's very important for us to remember that, number one, as the video said, Martin Luther did not set out to form his own church. What he wanted to do is reform the church and call to attention things that he believed very sincerely were counter to the way God intended. And so in the video, it kind of made the Catholics kind of the baddies in this. And there was a lot of bad things that were happening. In the video, they talked about indulgences, and there are all other kind of things that Luther really believed strongly needed to be changed. And so he set about to do that. But it's important to remember that he did not want to leave the church. He did not want to form his own church. And also something that's interesting to know is that he wasn't the only one that was trying to provide a voice for change in the church as well. There were a lot of people that felt the same way that Luther did. But that being said, Luther brought a really great understanding of what it really means to be a follower of Jesus. Not only what does it mean to be a follower of Jesus, but who Jesus is and what Jesus does. One thing that Luther brought about more sincerely and better than a lot of other people was the notion that we are justified by grace through the faithfulness of Jesus Christ. We are justified, meaning that we can stand before God and everything is okay between us and God. That's what it means to be justified. And this being justified is a gift. It is a gift to us. We don't earn this justification, this ability to stand before God. We don't earn it on our own. That's what Jesus does for us. And Jesus does this because he's faithful. And this faithfulness of Jesus led him all the way to the cross and beyond for us. So that was a really big thing that Luther brought, along with translating the Bible into the language of the people. So it wasn't just so that it would have been able to be read by other people. And then lastly, and we'll talk about this a bit too, he came up with this great book called Luther's Small Catechism, and it is a chock-full-filled book of good things. And here's another video that talks about Luther's Small Catechism.
Hey kids! Are you tired of playing with the same old toys day in and day out? Well, have I got a treat for you. Oh no, Susie, it's much cooler than a toy sports car. No way, Bobby! This is way more exciting than a breezy bake oven. What I've got is a gizmo guaranteed to provide you with hours of fun. Get ready for the all-inclusive, super deluxe, multi-purpose, Small Catechism from Martin Luther. Yes, the Small Catechism. Inside, you get such kid-pleasing favorites as the 10 Commandments. Be careful, Gary. Don't break those laws. Oh, but that's not all. Inside, there's also such classic hits as the Lord's Prayer, the Sacrament of Holy Baptism, the Apostles' Creed, and every child's favorite, the Office of the Keys and Confession. But wait, there's still more. Order now, and you'll receive at no extra charge the Sacrament of the Altar. Yes, sir. Luther made the Small Catechism especially for you. He put everything you need into one portable little package that you can use anywhere. Like church. Or church. Or as Luther originally intended, at home, if you want. Now, how much would you expect to pay for all this? Well, guess what? It's free! And what's more, it's mandatory! That's right, you're going to spend hours and hours and hours of fun poring over the contents of the fabulous Small Catechism, whether you want to or not. So don't hesitate, kids. Order yours today. In fact, don't bother ordering it. We know where you live. Remember, that's the Small Catechism by Luther, coming soon to a confirmation class near you.
Welcome back. Luther's Small Catechism is a book that has just meant the world to me for two reasons. Number one, it has so much in here from a Lutheran perspective on who God is. Some great teaching on exactly who God is and who Jesus is. And we talk about this. You'll find this in this book in, for example, Luther's teaching on the Apostles' Creed. Also, it's a great book on how to instruct us on how do we live our lives as followers of Jesus. And Martin Luther's teaching on the Small Catechism, on the Ten Commandments is par excellence for that. There is so much in here that can teach us about what does it mean to be a faithful follower of Jesus, and how do we live in relationship with God. And how do we live in relationship with each other? And so, my friends, we're in our small group time today. We're going to, or on Wednesday, we're going to make sure that everybody gets a copy of Luther's Small Catechism if you don't have one. And we'll talk a little bit more about this great little resource on Wednesday night. My friends, have a great day or evening whenever you're watching this video, and we'll see you faith formation type people on Wednesday night. God's peace.